Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? This is NY Jets Media, bringing you guys my next video on my channel, and in this one, I will bring you guys my thoughts on Defensive Coordinator Gregg Williams. If you guys missed my previous videos, I talked about my thoughts on Head Coach Adam Gase, Offensive Coordinator Dowell Loggins, and Special Teams Coordinator Brant Boyer, and in this one, I will be talking about Gregg Williams. I'm really excited to give you guys my thoughts on Gregg because, as all Jets fans know, he came in to the Jets last year in 2019 and completely turned our defense around and was definitely a huge upgrade on that defensive coaching staff. So jumping right into Gregg Williams and my thoughts on him, it's obviously extremely high. We had 4 years of Todd Bowles being our defensive mind, and we switched from Todd Bowles to Gregg Williams. And Gregg Williams' scheme and energy and everything about Gregg Williams is top tier. He has so much experience in this league. He's been a head coach. He's been a defensive coordinator for so many different teams. And what's so unique about him is definitely his energy. The way he coaches his guys, his camaraderie. People want to play for Gregg Williams. People are afraid to disappoint Gregg Williams, which fuels their fire inside of them to prove coach wrong, or really, basically what I'm trying to say is people want to play for Gregg Williams. He has that pedigree. He has the resume of a great coach. So especially someone like Jamal Adams, the way he's developing Jamal Adams is tremendous. His first year with Jamal almost broke the record for most sacks by defensive back in history, but he got injured, and I feel like if he did not get hurt, he would have broke that record. Look out for Jamal breaking that record in 2020. If he plays all 16 games, I do think that will happen because the way Gregg Williams utilizes Jamal Adams is just next level. He lines him up in like so many different positions, and the way he disguises his blitz is just mastermind. As we all know, the Jets' base defense usually is a 3-4, but Gregg Williams definitely switches it up and does 4-3 sometimes. He's not a strictly 3-4 base defensive guy. He switches it up. He likes to adjust to the offense mid-game and really confuse the quarterback. And we saw what Gregg Williams can do. So how many injuries did the Jets have last year, and how many different names came in and performed at a high level, and names that we weren't really familiar with, names that we just seemed like we signed off the practice squad and made it an immediate impact. We had so many injuries at the middle linebacker position, and we have people like Neville Hewitt, James Burgess, rookie Blake Cashman, all coming in and filling in for CJ Mosley, filling in for Avery Williamson, and playing at a high caliber level. We were top 3, top 5 in the whole league rushing defense wise, so our interior defense was so good last year. Communication, we had so many different rotations coming in. I can give you guys my thoughts on this defensive line for another 5 minutes if I wanted to, because I feel like this defensive line position is the most underrated group on this team and has the most depth. If we can get an elite pass rusher on the edge to match up with a Jordan Jenkins and to match up with our interior defensive linemen, this defense will go to another level. But at the same time, since we don't have that blockbuster elite edge rusher that we're giving a lot of money, I'm still confident that Gregg Williams can pull his strings and get really creative with his defenses and throw exotic blitzes, especially that with Jamal Adams on this team. Jamal Adams is a safety, and he's our best edge rusher, in my opinion. He can blaze off the edge. His just anticipation and the way he just feels when the ball's going to get snapped, his jump off the line, he explodes in the backfield and could just wreak havoc. He had a 3-sack game against the Washington Redskins, and we saw what Jamal can do there. So Gregg Williams getting into his scheme, I really think that it's more of a man-to-man type of thing, and the way I look at Gregg Williams and what separates him from the guy like Adam Gase, obviously one's defensive minded and one's offensive minded, Gregg Williams really knows how to adjust mid-game to the opponent and throw stuff at them that they haven't seen before and disguise his blitzes. Adam Gase, on the other hand, like I said in my video when I broke down Adam Gase tends to script up a really good play for the first opening drive, and then after that, mid-game, he doesn't really have that mid-game adjustments that can adjust to the defense and really write plays off script. You know, Gregg Williams, I feel like mid-game can just create a crazy play call that results in a turnover, that results in a fumble. You know, Gregg Williams just knows the game of football like the back of his hand, and he just goes into so much analytics. If you watch his interviews, you can see the passion of Gregg Williams. And when we first hired Gregg Williams last year, I was so excited because it's kind of like having 2 head coaches on this team, having Adam Gase being our head coach and Gregg Williams our defensive coordinator. I kind of look at him as another head coach. He's our head coach of the defense, and his energy and his leadership just is next level. And he also has a vulgar mouth, so I know that isn't really a big deal, but like I remember training camp last year, he went up to the crowd, and it was a training camp where fans could attend. He gave a speech to the whole crowd and was just promising that it was going to be a good season, and just his connection with the fans, it really felt there. I'm like, wow, Gregg Williams really is a coach that cares. He's passionate, and he wants to excel and become a top 5 defense in this league, and he wants to coach this group of guys and just make them another level. He wants to be elite, and he does not settle for mediocre. He wants to be great. And another thing that separates Gregg Williams from other defensive coordinators is he really has the experience to develop young talent. Like I said previously, how many times do we have a rookie come in, or a young guy, no name, that played at a high caliber level? And that is not because the player has potential or whatnot. It's because Gregg Williams knows how to coach and get the best out of his players. Obviously, every single young player in the NFL has some sort of potential, or else they wouldn't be in the NFL. But it's up to the coaching staff and Gregg Williams to get that potential and let them excel, let them feel comfortable. I feel like Gregg Williams also is really good at making the player feel comfortable what they're best at and expanding on it. I'm really good at this, but I'm also good at this. If you can make a player feel comfortable on what they are best at, let them become elite at that, and that will excel them in that position. I feel like some coaches force on players to be really good at stuff they're not the best at, so it makes their mind really worried and anxious. But I think Gregg Williams really gets to know his players each individually, understand their strengths, understand their weaknesses, and let them really work on their strengths. Because if that strength can become at elite level, then it makes their players that much better. And I feel like another thing is this defense has really good chemistry. You saw a lot of good communication. Jamal Adams is the heart and soul of this defense, and I'm a huge Jamal fan, as you guys know. Most Jets fans are. I don't really need to say that. But Jamal really is that guy that I feel like is the reason why your defense is that good. Gregg Williams just knows how to coach him and just be that magnet type of role where people look at Jamal on the field and they feed off of his energy. It's kind of like a Gregg Williams energy on the field. I like that combo of Gregg Williams coaching and Jamal Adams on the field, because they both have that intense energy that people want to play for. And that's why I feel like Gregg Williams is going to become even better in 2020 in coaching this team. We're only going to get better if we're healthy and we have a CJ Mosley all 16 games, Avery Williamson healthy, and our cornerbacks, Pierre Desir plays at a solid level, and Jamal gets better. Our defense is going to be crazy next year. And I know it sounds like I'm hyping up the defense, but I'm telling you, if we do not suffer the injuries that we did in 2019 and we're healthy all of 2020, we are going to be a very good defense, especially with Quinn Williams going into his second year. If he breaks out and becomes that dominant force on the interior lineman like he was supposed to be when he was drafted 3rd overall, this defense is going to unlock a chamber that we haven't seen before. And it's really making me have memories of back in the 2009, 2010 days when the Jets were going to the AFC Championship. We won those games because of our defense, and I feel like our defense is there. Like, our defense is going to be elite this year, and it's just a matter of can our offense catch up. If Adam Gase can get his offense together and make them at least like average or above average, we are going to be a solid football team. When I look at this defense, it really doesn't worry me. The only position that worries me is edge rusher, but at the same time, Gregg Williams as a coach, I am confident in that he can really work around not having an elite pass rusher and can have exotic blitzes, disguise his blitzes, have somebody look like he's blitzing but drop back in zone coverage and get a pick. Like Terrell Basham, I remember that play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It looked like he was blitzing and he drops back and picks it off. Like, those are just simple plays that Gregg Williams does that really separates him from other defensive coordinators. Obviously, there are other defensive-minded coaches out there that do similar stuff than Gregg, but the way Gregg goes about his defense is just different, and he just has that experience of a head coach, and that's why I love it, because it feels like the Jets have 2 head coaches on this team. And honestly, I would be okay with Gregg Williams being a head coach. That's how much I love Gregg Williams, and I know a bunch of Jets fans are right there with me. They think Gregg Williams is a great guy to coach this defense. And let me know your thoughts of Gregg Williams down below. I can really talk about another 20 minutes when it comes to Gregg Williams because we all know how great of a defensive coordinator he is. I want to know your guys' thoughts of him. What makes you think he separates himself from other defensive coordinators? Why do players gravitate towards him? I love hearing you guys' comments down below, so make sure you guys comment your thoughts on Gregg Williams. And with that being said, that really does it for this video. I'll catch you guys in my next one. Let's go Jets. Peace.